Okay, so for this little lesson, I've decided I want to build out some ad groups for some NBA tickets keywords. So I've searched Google for NBA team list, and it's given me this Wikipedia article, which quite usefully has this big list of all the things. Um, so that's pretty sweet because it means I don't have to manually go and type in a bunch of stuff that I don't feel like typing. So I'm just going to make sure I select everything. I'm just going to copy this, paste it into Excel and see what happens because I don't want to have to type these all out manually. Okay, so I've got this big list of teams. I'll just make this a bit bigger. So that's pretty useful. I've got all these numbers in front of them which look kind of annoying. And also I need to make sure that like the central division one doesn't ruin everything. So I'm just going to use Control and minus to get rid of that. We've also got this Southeast division. I think it's Control and minus on both the PC and Mac. So Control minus, do that. Where else have we got it? Northwest division and Pacific division. And I know there's 30 teams, and I've got 31 here, so I've missed something out. Here we go, Southwest division. Okay, so I just want to get rid of these numbers. So I think the easiest way to do it is going to be using a find and replace. And I can use the star, which it treats as a kind of wildcard. So if I do star1, that means it's going to find anything that happens before a 1 and replace it with, in this instance, nothing. So that seems to have got rid of most of them, but obviously I've still got 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just going to do it with 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, 5. Okay, lovely. So now I've got my list of teams, and I think I'm just going to call these the ad group names. So I'm going to have a different ad group for every team, because obviously the ad copy is going to be different for all of those. And then in terms of my keywords, I'm going to be super lazy and just do the most basic keywords. I'm going to do it with a little formula. So I'm just going to make it the team name and the word ticket. And I'm going to use my quotes to just add the word ticket. I'm going to put a bit of space in between so that there's like a gap. And I've done the multiplication symbol. I might do the and symbol. I don't know why I do everything bold, but take it off bold. Okay, so I can just copy that down. And I've got all my kind of ticket keywords. Obviously, I don't really want to bid on just the team name because then it might be people just searching for like highlights or merchandise or whatever. So I want to definitely have the word ticket in my keyword. However, I've also got capitals in this keyword, which is a bit of an issue. Because as you remember, we never ever want to have capital letters in our keywords. They should always be lowercase. So luckily there's a formula for that, which is the lower formula. So I can just select the lower formula, select the cell, and it's just going to produce the same text but without the capitalizations. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it as values over here. Okay, so now I've got my keywords all lowercase. That's cool. And what am I going to do next? Well, let's also make some ad copy for these. So I'm going to do that in a new sheet because obviously I wouldn't be building the keywords and the ads in the same sheet. So I'm just going to copy all my ad group names because you always want to keep the ad group names exactly the same. And I'm going to paste them over here. And for my ads, obviously I need a headline 1, I need a headline 2, and a description. That'll probably be enough for now. So I've also, you'll notice I've left like a little gap here. And the reason for that is that I'm going to use the len function in a minute to kind of count how many characters I think there are. So I'm going to do some really simple formula here just to make things slightly easy for myself. So I'm just going to make it something like equals by and the team name and tickets. Let's see how long this is. So you'll notice I've done the text in quotes. I've left a little space after the first word and before the second word, because otherwise Google will just put them all together and there won't be any spaces. Okay, bypass and suffix. Looks pretty okay. So I'm going to use my len function, which just tells me how many characters is in that cell. So 26. My maximum number of characters is 30, so that's looking pretty good. Let's copy these all down. Some of them I might have to change. So, you know, we've got a few teams that are super long names, which are a bit annoying. But, you know, it's a good kind of shortcut to get what I want to get first. So I'm just going to copy and paste as values in here. So it's just a nice, easy way to build some keywords really quickly. Chris is knocking the door, even though I'm recording videos, so hopefully he's going to be nice and quiet, so that it doesn't mess up our lesson too much. Okay, so there's my headline one, and I definitely need to make a few changes as we discussed. So maybe I'll just not have Minnesota Timberwolves, I'll just do Timberwolves as a keyword. Sorry, as a kind of ad headline. Because, I mean, I'm guessing, you know, someone that's trying to buy Portland Trailblazer tickets will know what the Trailblazers are. Of course, we also have to deal with XL being annoying, aren't they? Ooh, and maybe for Los Angeles Clippers, I can just make it LA Clippers. And those all look cool. So now we've got our headlines done. Oh, we still got this one, New Orleans Pelicans. Maybe we can make this the NO Pelicans. Maybe that looks stupid. Maybe we'll just make it by Pelicans tickets. Right, lovely. So now we've done those, what shall I do next? We need to do headline. Oh, it's supposed to be headline 2. And since I've got my headline 1, which is quite specific to the ad group and the equivalent keywords, I probably don't need to worry too much about headline 2. So, you know, I'll just make it, let's assume my client is StubHub or something. So, whatever. Buy the best tickets at StubHub. Not particularly compelling ad copy, but whatever. So I'm just going to use my len function again. Wow, 31 characters. That's annoying. Maybe I'll just make it best tickets at StubHub. Whatever. Cool. Well, I don't love that, to be honest, but for the sake of the video, we'll leave it like that. Okay, so what other functions do we need to be thinking about in this video? Mainly the lower function, proper function we haven't done yet. Okay, so what shall I do for my description? I'm going to try and get something from the StubHub website so that I'm kind of still speaking in the same brand voice. And let's see what I can find. Because it's usually quite nice to try and steal a bit of that copy. StubHub is the world's top best-selling particular to me sellers. That sounds quite nice. So let's copy that, paste it in here, and see how long it is. I'm not quite sure why it's not displaying there. Do I need to change the color of the text? Right. Doing it in an annoyingly large font, so maybe I'll make it a bit smaller. So I've got 80 characters for my description. This has been 70, so you know, I could just leave it like that, but it's quite nice to use as many characters as you can. So maybe I'll just bang in that. I've got exactly 80 characters, which is really nice. However, I also think it's usually best to have your add copy all capitalized. So I'm just going to use the proper function, which is kind of like the opposite of the lower function. So the proper function basically will capitalize the first letter of every word. So I'm just going to do that in a new cell, copy it, and paste it. Wait, I don't want to do this. No, I do. Paste it as values over here. So now that I've got my capitalized words, just going to make sure, because these apostrophe S's tend to mess up with the proper, and also the brand's name is displayed like that. And that is fine, so I can just copy that down. And so we've learned on this sheet we did the lower function to make the keywords out of these kind of aggregate names that I imported from Wikipedia. And we also did a bit of the AND function, because that's always a nice shortcut to do things. And we did the same over here. And you can see that I've actually copied and pasted all the formulas as values, just because if you leave them as formulas, it's really easy to kind of forget and mess things up, and it's the worst. So generally, I'll use a formula to build something, and then when I've got it how I want it to be, I just will paste it as values over the top so that it can't change after that. So I use that formula to make this headline 1. Headline 2 is just generic, and the description, we've got 80 characters, and we learned how to do proper formula. To be honest, it would be much better if the description said something about the team. So, I mean, we could potentially go a bit more technical. What about if instead of this, we keep it so established world destination 4, but instead of all this stuff, we could say and Boston Celtics. And so instead of it's going to be ticket buyers and resellers, it could just be Boston Celtics tickets. That might be a bit more compelling. Doesn't like my formula for some reason. It's because that needs to go there. Ooh, 74 characters. Oh, and you'll notice that we've got this little bit where I want to have a gap, so I need to put a space there. Okay, so that's actually way better, apart from the odd team where they're a bit too long. But, you know, we've discussed that before, so I'm just going to copy all this stuff again, paste it as values, and I'm just going to manually edit the few that are a bit long. And I think just for the really long ones, I'm going to take off the buy now bit at the end. In fact, I can just take off the exclamation mark for that one. Same with this one. For this one, I'm going to take off that whole bit. In fact, for all those three, I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to do a quick find replace. Buy now, exclamation mark. I'm just going to replace those with nothing. And I just want to make sure that all these are less than 80 characters, which they are. And that's about the end of our lesson in text, kind of, what do I call it in the sheet? Text editing tools. There you go.